How nervous should the Cowboys be about Dak?
Nervous, concerned, very nervous, very concerned. And I'm glad to hear that they have changed their tune from the preseason when we also saw another muscle strain. Let me go down the list for you if you will allow me and see if you see something, if you see a pattern evolving here. So we have a right ankle compound fracture. And then we have a right shoulder muscle strain. And now we have a right calf muscle strain. You can't tell me that these aren't connected to that original devastating injury. And at least at this point now, they're taking it a little more serious than they did when we got the initial muscle strain. Because if you recall, at the time it was, it's day to day, it's not a big deal, what's there to worry about? And then a month later, we're still waiting to see Dak Prescott throw the ball again. So if I apply that to this, then yes, I would be very concerned because, look, muscle strains don't sound that serious, but everybody is different. And if this is connected to the compound fracture that I believe he's still coming back from, that he's not 100% from, then yes, there is very good cause to be very concerned.
I'm with you there, Slick. Only thing I want to push back on is the fact that this team has always taken Dak Prescott's health seriously. It's just not always promoting it to the public for our consumption so that we don't exaggerate it and take it too seriously. But in this situation, I am nervous. If I were a Cowboys fan, I would be nervous. If you're Dak Prescott, you certainly are nervous because you know your body best. Let's talk about what's happening right here. He has a calf strain, okay? I'm going to give you another player on the Cowboys who has a calf strain and tell me what his production has looked like this year. Michael Gallup. Anybody seen Michael Gallup? Week 1, week 2, week 3. Keep going. Michael Gallup had a calf strain. Now, it wasn't headline news because it's Michael Gallup, but it's the same injury. Bucky Brooks, you played a lot of football. Slick Rick, you played a lot of journalism and sports as well. But the point being, raise your hand if you ever had a calf strain. Here, okay, let's talk about what a calf strain is. Obviously, we know where our calf is located. But let's look around. Let's see the neighborhood of the calf to let you know the severity of this injury, even when it's just a strain. Your foot is the most important part of your body, especially as an athlete. We all know this. Something wrong with your feet, something going to be wrong with your body. It's basically like what your tires do to a car. Something wrong with those, something's going to give. You're going to be out of alignment. Okay. Now, on top of the calf, what is that? Oh, that's just a knee that's connected to a hamstring and a quad. I want everyone at home to look down at your quad, and then look at your big hamstring, and then look at that little old calf. Poor calf has to support so much, the most important part of your body, which is your foot as an athlete, and then these big, gigantic muscles. So when it gets strained with the low blood circulation flow that's going down your body, all of a sudden that strain is a little more severe than it sounds. You haven't seen Michael Gallup for a reason. That calf strain is major. I don't know the degree of Dak's calf strain, but I do know there's no such thing as rub it out or a week's rest and we'll be fine. Even if Dak Prescott plays after the bye week, Dak Prescott's mind will be mindful of that calf. You will not be in sixth gear with a calf strain that you're coming back to first play action. Why do I know all this? I'm not board certified. I ain't no damn doctor, just an experienced former athlete. I know all of this because they're telling on themselves. What they're saying right now, and Jerry Jones says, well, we got to take care of it. If he were having to play this week, I'll be a little nervous, a little worried. But we don't. We have the next week. Y'all got to read between the lines. They are not even at a place right now where they could test the injury of Dak Prescott. Physically, they can't put him through the rigors. They can't put him through the test to see where he is. That lets you know how far away he is to full recovery. Oh, if I'm a Cowboy, especially Dak, I'm hella nervous.
Relax. You guys are so nervous about everything, so anxiety-ridden. Relax. And I take that, and the reason why I say relax, because I'm taking it from one of our favorite players, Aaron Rodgers. Because, see, here's what I remember. Aaron Rodgers has had a number of calf strains, and he's continued to play with it. He had a calf strain back in 2015, 2016 that hurt him going into the championship game against the Seattle Seahawks. He came back the next year and had a calf strain in the other leg. I want to say 2019, he had a calf strain and continued to play. Now, what it will do, it'll change how Dak Prescott plays. He won't flee the pocket as much. He'll just become a pocket passer, which he's become one of the best of in the league. And so, yes, it's a little bit of a concern, but not what you guys are making it out to be. You're making it out like he's Michael Gallup out there trying to run routes. Last time I checked, the quarterback is not really running around and doing all those things. Dak Prescott plays in a nice, tight area right there. I didn't see him move on that pass to CeeDee Lamb. He just throws from the grassy knoll. Now, it puts more pressure on the front line to make sure that he's throwing from a fortress. But in terms of having to worry about number 4 showing up, the one thing that we know, man, unless it is a season-ending injury, Dak Prescott always shows up and plays. He's going to play, and he's going to play well because that's what Dak Prescott does. So all of this anxiety and all of this stuff that you guys are trying to ratchet up for Cowboys Nation, calm down, relax. Number 4 be there when it's all time to go.
Oh, Bucky, you know, it doesn't bother me that you are so pro-Cowboys. That's not the part. It's how you are pro-Cowboy. The fact that there's nothing to see here. There's not a problem. We just had a muscle strain that was diminished, that was minimized. It's just a muscle strain. It's not a big deal. And he misses a month. And I look at what the Cowboys are. You're right. Dak Prescott is playing great. The Dallas Cowboys without Dak Prescott are a completely different team, 4-7 without him. And we're putting the Dallas Cowboys out. Last time we were together, I told you, I think the Cowboys are legit, but they are legit with Dak Prescott, and they're legit with Dak Prescott being able to do all that Dak Prescott is capable of doing. And if Marcellus is going to push back on the Dallas Cowboys are taking care of Dak, I agree with that. It's a matter of how they present it. So when they start to say, yeah, we're not sure, we think if we have to play this week, he wouldn't be able to play. I'm like, oh, for the minimizing team, the fact that they're admitting that suggests that this is a little more grave than certainly they thought that the muscle strain was. But Bucky, you are not going to try to sell me on the idea that Aaron Rodgers' arm, or rather Dak Prescott's arm, is the same as Aaron Rodgers' arm and his ability to be creative and throw from different angles. Dak has become extremely efficient, but when it comes to that general athleticism and that ability to do different things with his arm, that is way different. And then you're telling me that it's just a muscle strain, just like Aaron Rodgers. When did Aaron Rodgers have a compound fracture in his ankle?
Hello.
When did Aaron Rodgers have a muscle strain the same season that he had in his calf? Like, when did all of that prelude be the same? You can't make the comparison that they had the same injury when you don't have the same lead up to that injury.
Ooh, got you on them ropes over there, Bucky. Let's talk about this. How I'm upset at Bucky as well, because it bothers me that he's not bothered by this injury when Bucky knows damn well that this is a problem. Let's walk through it. Slick already gave you the timeline in terms of the major injury that is now being compensated by 2 other injuries, the lat, and now we can see with the calf. Let's talk about how Dak threw the ball in New England. Touchdown, win the game, hooray. Dak is not celebrating when he's walking off that field. Dak is limping off that field, laboring. There's video of Dak Prescott laboring. And then next time you visibly see Dak Prescott, he's at the podium with a walking boot. Now, if you're going to act like that's nothing, Bucky, now you're doing way too much. Look, it's like the homie telling you, hey, dog, I ain't going out. I ain't going out. You're like, all right, stay home then, fool. But then he actually puts on like the house arrest bracelet and monitor. Like, hold on, you only doing that because something is really going on. Nobody wants to put that walking boot on unless something's going on, because you know what that walking boot means to a player. Oh, you got curfew, you got 24/7 therapy, you got to live in a facility with that walking boot on. And not a player has ever wanted to take that flight back home with the walking boot on just for precaution's sake. It's because we know we have to be careful because something potentially major has occurred. Bucky, You too experienced and too knowledgeable to be acting like this.
I mean, you guys, so I grew up in a household where my dad used to love watching these country westerns, right? He would watch these John Wayne movies where John Wayne would just kind of limp off after killing everybody and doing everybody in the shootout. That's all Dak Prescott was doing. It's the John Wayne in him being the hero. He's been, look, the only thing he didn't do was tip his hat like a cowboy to let him know that he had pulled off a major coup. So some of that was like, yes, he was hurt, and some of that was theatric. That's what you do when you're a hero. He's a hero. He's a cowboy. That's what Dak Prescott does. Now, Rick, to your point, look, the compound fracture on the ankle certainly has impacted some of the things that we've seen Dak Prescott have to deal with this season. Yes, he wasn't utilizing his legs early in camp, so he did have a little shoulder soreness or whatever. But now when I look, man, those balls don't look like his shoulder's hurting during the regular season. It looks like the ball's coming up fine, on point. He's playing the best that we've seen him play. And so I would anticipate that even though this is a wear and tear injury, the 14 days that we have in between games is certainly enough time for him to be serviceable as he works back into health. The bye week comes at a great time. If we didn't have the bye week, maybe I would have some of the panic that you guys have, maybe when you see your kids about to fall down or whatever. I am not the type to panic like that because the kids normally react how you react when they fall down. So I'm not going to panic about Dak Prescott falling down. He's going to get up, dust himself off, go back into the lineup, and continue to chalk up these W's for America's team.
Okay, first of all, Bucky, how many Super Bowls has John Wayne or Clint Eastwood won? I'm trying to think. When have I seen them under center? Like, I mean, I love that image, but come on now, let's be real. He wasn't replicating being a cowboy, just sauntering off because I just got the job done. But the other part is, you just said that injury, that compound fracture injury, led to the muscle strain. And as a result, he couldn't do all the things early on that we're used to seeing him do, right? Well, if he's got to compensate or even think about this muscle strain in his calf, isn't that going to have the same effect? And to Marcellus's point, there's no way with a soft tissue injury, I don't care whether it's a hamstring, calf, whatever it is, but particularly a calf, like every time you step, you feel that. Every time, is it going to tighten? Is it going to go? And you naturally start playing with your upper body above the waist because you don't want to plant and push off on that hard. Yes, I've had a muscle strain. It wasn't writing. It was doing something a little more strenuous than journalism. But that said, all these things are connected. And I just look at what the Cowboys are and how much they depend on Dak Prescott. I can't have a compromised Dak Prescott. And that's what you have right now. And that is reason for concern.
Look at Slick going back into the memory bank. The war wounds, that's right. Writer's cramp. Slick one time I was stuck. LeBron couldn't write it. Oh, I couldn't write for 2 weeks. Bucky.
Why did I enter this conversation?
I don't know why I entered it with Bucky as well, because I thought Bucky would just use, experience, wisdom, his eyeballs, maybe the fact that he knows that football, his glasses, a game of inches is football, and it's also a game of glitches. And you got to survive before you thrive. And if you're injury prone, not putting that on Dak Prescott fully as a label, but if these injuries continue to pile up, they continue to compromise your availability and sooner or later, your actual ability. Dak's right now top 5 in passer rating, passing touchdowns, completion percentage, and yards per game. Only quarterback in the league to be top 5 in all those categories. But the problem is, if the Dallas Cowboys have to start to look and forecast a lineup without Dak Prescott, they go from a win percentage of 627 down to 364. So say what you want about this injury, just the perspective of maybe Dak Prescott could be out of the lineup is enough to cause some nervousness and anxiety out there in D-Town.